Good morning. Today's situation, Rich on the road here with you. We were working out in Northwest Bradenton and we had to take a lunch break while our client ran and got something, so I thought here's a good chance to come out and start my vlog. The other day you seen where we worked with the Hernando Desoto Historical Society. Well, this park that we're at today is dedicated to Hernando Desoto and where he landed and different conditions on how it is. So this is a historic part of Bradenton. Stay tuned. We'll try to show you some information about the place and give you a little bit more history of my town. And that's what today's situation is. Here's an example of the Spanish explorers from the Desoto crew. Just a recreation of what their base camp looked like. Notice they used palm fronds for the thatching. You'll see a lot on tiki huts. It does help keep you dry. They weather pretty good. They're easy to replace or just add on. But this is a little area that you would see typically back then where they would have held a town meeting. Everybody would have come together and got their information. They have a placard here that kind of discuss what this is. I'll try to get some close-up pictures for you. There's a lot of sunlight, so hopefully the pictures turned out and hopefully the video turns out. But let's see what else we can find out here today. This is a recreation of a European type ship that they would have used, the settlers, when they were coming off of the big ships trying to come over to the land to explore. This one was handcrafted and recreated here by a boat manufacturer in town called Boat Works. This style would date back to the 16th century. This is the inside of what one of the grass huts may have looked like. They're quite big, quite spacious. The men would have come up and got in here and got in the shade and got out of the sun, maybe being treated by medical personnel. Back then, they're medical or spirit personnel. Could have been a place of meeting for eating. There you see a Spanish soldier that may have been using a conch to signal from one side of the island. And there's another explorer. She would haul conch across there. So you can see the work would have gone in. They would have used, instead of these pylons like this, they would have used palm trees. So this would have all been made out of palm tree and whatever else was available. This is typical of what the bay beaches look like on Florida. We've got a lot of mangroves that are natural and they're protected. We've got a lot of other trees that grow down near the water. And the fish and stuff on high tide would get in here really good. You get a lot of snapper, a lot of sheephead, things like that. You see the rock build up, help keep the wash down. But if you look out across there, it's typically your bay. There's a lot of flats, grass flats out there. The lighter spots you see would be the grass, the openings in the grass where it's muddy bottom. And then the darker spots, of course, is the grass. It's not too deep out across here. But then you look way off in the distance off of that point and you can see that's where the channel is for coming in and out of the bay. So this is typical what the Florida Bay would look like, non-developed, where they would wash ashore, or where us Floridians or anybody wanting to go fishing might sneak our kayak down and get out on this flats water and go do some fishing. Walking around out here at the park, you know, again, falling back to the Hernando Desoto Historical Society, I'm going to show you the shield that those guys that we were with on the float this past weekend may carry on their bolos when they're in their regalia. So here you see the bay in the background. Again, this would be a place like they would have landed, and that's what this monument's all about. I'll show you a little bit more of the history, things they have out here, get you some more view of what it might look like out here. Great fishing, obviously, down here in Florida. A whole lot of us down here love getting out on the water. I mentioned before, it's the salt life. One of the biggest problems is time. You know, we never have enough time to get out on the water, but we try to make time where we can. So this is a great example of why we want to get out here. I mean, look how beautiful it is. Yeah, there's a little bit of chop out there and a little bit of breeze, but you get up around those keys and those islands over there, and you can get in behind the wind, and it won't affect you a lot. So super nice out here.
Hey, watch out! There's some natives over there.
Where?
Right there.
Oh my goodness. Guys, I'm sorry. I don't mean any harm. Hey, you're doing some fishing. What you got there? First thought you might have some trout, but I think you got some. chilling there. You want to smoke some of that or sell some of that? Here, buddy. We got to be careful out here on these trails. You never know who's going to walk up on you. I think that guy was trying to sell some mullet, but the other guy looked like he was wearing a polo shirt and some decorations from Bell's. Where did he get that? I wonder. In the camera you'll see Jay Walker. He was one of the guys that brought me aboard the on the Adopt a Family trip this past weekend with the Hernando DeSoto Historical Society. He's kind of giving me a tour out here, showing me the ins and the outs of historical DeSoto Park while we have a few minutes. He's taking me way back here in the woods. I hope we don't run into any more settlers. Out here down this deck you're going to see a lot of shrubbery and stuff, and it's not technically shrubbery. We've got the red mangrove, the black mangrove, just to name a few, which are protected species plants and trees. You can cut them back a little bit. You have to get permitting, and there's only so much you can cut back per year. These tend to grow along our waterways and are a big part of the estuary habitat that you'd see here in Florida, especially part of the bay life. And this placard is dedicated to the white mangrove, yet another species you'll find out here in the Florida estuaries. Whoa. Hey buddy, we're just passing by. You hadn't seen a guy in an orange shirt, have you? You kind of scared me when I walked up on you. But you've got mullet too. Are you going to be selling that mullet? There's a lot of people out here that might like it. I think I'll just stay over here. I don't mean any harm. I come in peace. Jay, what is this we're looking at here? What are these pile of rocks? I know they look like the same kind of sea rock that at one time was live rock that probably washed up out of the bay. What is this area? The Tabby House? These are the ruins. What was the Tabby House?
Mixture of oyster shells, lime, sand, and water.
All of those are found big time in our area, and that looks like a lot of the same kind of rock you'll see. In fact, when I used to have a saltwater tank, I had big chunks of that and used it in the bottom of my saltwater tank as a base rock, and eventually became live rock. This was a staple, if you will. This is one of the major pieces of construction that they used back in the day. You know, you didn't have a lot, so these rocks were always available, and they are you pack them in with some mud and that mixture, and literally they're hard. So unfortunately this house didn't make it for the 1,000 years. Does it say when this house, is there anything that says when this house came in? 1843 is when this was put together, so you know, you're looking, yeah. So they were thinking that the Shaw family might have done this around 1843. So you're looking at 100 years to get to, you know, 1983 plus how long it's been then. So at any rate, it hasn't made it, but there are still the base stones, which give you a pretty good idea on what this is about and what the longevity of these stones are. So out there you see a big party boat, the pontoon boat. That one's flat getting after it out there in the bay. We got local places that rent boats. You can actually sign up and rent boats. You pay a down payment, and you basically are buying in like a timeshare to a boat, and a lot of the boats they have are like that. So you can take out in one weekend, maybe take a small boat, 3 of your friends, and say you want to take 20 people out. They got a larger boat, you can rent that and take that out. So looks like they're going out and have a good day. Out here down this deck you're going to see a lot of shrubbery and stuff, and it's not technically shrubbery. We've got the red mangrove, the black mangrove, just to name a few, which are protected species plants and trees. You can cut them back a little bit. You have to get permitting, and there's only so much you can cut back per year. Whoa. Hey buddy, we're just passing by. You hadn't seen a guy in an orange shirt, have you? You kind of scared me when I walked up on you. But you've got mullet too. Are you going to be selling that mullet? There's a lot of people out here that might like it. I think I'll just stay over here. I don't mean any harm. I come in peace. Jay, what is this we're looking at here? What are these pile of rocks? I know they look like the same kind of sea rock that at one time was live rock that probably washed up out of the bay. What is this area? The Tabby house? These are the ruins. What was the Tabby house?
Mixture of oyster shells, lime, sand, and water.
All of those are found big time in our area, and that looks like a lot of the same kind of rock you'll see. In fact, when I used to have a saltwater tank, I had big chunks of that and used it in the bottom of my saltwater tank as a base rock, and eventually became live rock. This was a staple, if you will. This is one of the major pieces of construction that they used back in the day. You know, you didn't have a lot, so these rocks were always available, and they are you pack them in with some mud and that mixture, and literally they're hard. So here we stand at DeSoto Point. I'll leave a still shot of the placard about DeSoto Point. One of the big things that lets you know that you're in DeSoto Point or in the area of DeSoto Point. As I walk forward down the path, let's see if you can see it. There's a huge cross, and I'll have to find the link to the story so I can include it, but you'll see that cross. Where's it at? That cross right in this area here. I'm going to try to zoom in on it. Let's see if we can see it. See if we can see it. It's real hard as it kind of blends in. Maybe we can do some adjustments, but there it is. There's a cross, the man-made cross that was put up. And like I said, I'll try to find the information about it and post that for you too. So Jay and I were just kind of reminiscing as we're making our way back to the vehicle. When we were kids, our local mall, DeSoto Square Mall, which is kind of run down a lot now, but they used to have a huge, I believe it was bronze, wasn't it, bronze statue? Huge bronze statue of Hernando DeSoto erected in the mall, and there's a lot of pride about DeSoto in that time. I can remember going to the mall and they had these coins, and still the guys these days will throw the coins out at the parade, but they would have these coins that they'd throw out, and they'd have the year on them and have Hernando DeSoto on one side. It was pretty cool. Another thing that they used to do was they would come in and capture the mall manager or the mall owner. The float would pull up outside and the guys would come in and pillage and plunder the mall, and looking for this guy. He was going to be their prisoner, and they'd take him away. And he said that they still do some captures now, but it was not like it was when we were kids. I guess there's a group somewhere locally that reenacts a lot of those Spanish type invasions, kind of like Civil War invaders do. So the DeSoto guys don't get a chance to do as much of that anymore, but it would be neat to see that again. I think it would be. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, man.
He's a man with very few words. So when he does say them, you better listen because they're good.
That's it.
So today will be a short vlog. I'll try to post that information about the cross as promised. But thank you guys for tuning in. Please continue to watch. Tell me if I'm doing them right. Tell me if I'm doing them wrong. Any information you give me to help me get in the right direction, I would appreciate. If you do happen to like it, please click thumbs up and like. That means a lot to me. And subscribe, and most importantly, share. And stay tuned because there's some other things happening. You might start seeing my face or my vlogs elsewhere in the near future. So I tell you what, happy Tuesday. Most of us are going back to work today, and that's what today's situation is all about. A little bit of Bradenton history at the DeSoto Memorial Park. Have a great day, guys.